What's going on, world? This is your girl, Marky Lemons-Ryhal. And of course, you know that I consistently love to learn something new. And today I feel as though we're going to learn a lot because we're going to actually dive a little deeper and talk about things that I really don't talk about. I often talk about the lead gen part, but we don't talk about closing and follow up. So today, this show will kind of be like the icing on the cake. Yeah, you've generated the lead. Now what? And today I have none other than Wes Schaeffer with me. What's going on, Wes?
Woo! What's going on?
Nothing much. I did tell you, I'm real high energy, but I will not be standing on any desk today. I work with realtors, and a lot of times they're buying leads, and I think that they should generate their own leads. And we talk a lot about lead generation. But let's assume I've generated a lead. I've put this person into my customer relationship management system. The question would be, now what?
Yeah. People need to think in terms of systems. All right. I equate selling to dating. And in my trainings, I'll have a pipeline. Everybody's familiar with pipelines or funnels. Your pipeline, you put enough stuff in one side, hopefully something comes out the other end. Right? But you have these stages from suspect to prospect to hot lead to negotiation, blah, blah, blah. Well, I equate it to dating because I literally met my wife at a country bar 24 years ago, right? And you make eye contact, you ask her to dance, you ask her to dance again, right? Can I buy you a drink? Can I get your number? You want to meet for dinner? Okay, meet the family, pick out rings, blah, blah, blah. There's a process there. Now, you can skip one or two steps. If you skip more than two, hello, you're beautiful. Let's go to the Elvis Chapel and get married. Maybe that works out. Maybe it doesn't, right? So you've got to have a process when you do anything in sales. I always say to make any sale, you must make every sale. Okay. So before I even went to the club, I took a shower. I shined my boots, right? It's a country bar. I put on clean clothes, right? I did my laundry. I picked up my dry cleaning. So I brushed my teeth. I put on cologne. I put on deodorant. All of those are little bitty sales. So everything that you're doing, your business card, your profile pictures, the font you use on the card, everything is a sale. And so you have to think this through systematically. And then you need to understand the courting, right? The courtship that goes on. So when I got her number, and I guess now there's a whole etiquette too, or I don't know, social media or texting. Like, do you hit them up on Twitter or Snapchat? I don't even know anymore, right? But you got to follow what's expected. Now when people reach out to you in real estate, they expect to hear from you quickly. They expect to get some help. Right? They expect you to be informative, to be timely, to not be desperate. Don't be pushy. So have you thought about this ahead of time? Because every buyer and every seller has the same exact concerns. So you can map those out ahead of time, maybe put a series of emails together, probably even videos, short videos. Walking people through, hey, here's the next step. Oh, by the way, yesterday we covered the appraisal process. Today I want to talk about title search. Tomorrow we're going to get into, I'll explain escrow to you or whatever, right? So they know what's coming. It's a rehash of what you just covered because repetition is the key to learning. Everybody's busy. They're multitasking. They're reading your email. They got two other screens open. They're trying to pound their Starbucks. They're trying to pull the kids off the roof from jumping. It's just, you got to think through that ahead of time and plan these systems and sequences out.
So what you just said, plan ahead of time. And I cannot stress that enough. And the importance of systems. I was talking to one of our agents this morning, and I said, to me, it still goes back to the business plan. I came into the business from the lending side of the business. Then I became a realtor. Then I came to the education side of the business. But every time I've been successful because I have a business plan and I'm planning these systems out well in advance. Like I think you and I are probably already thinking about next year and what that's going to look like. And we're learning all of these different tools and systems now to implement because people are telling us now what might be important in the next year. So in planning out a process, they have them in and the leads in, and now we're thinking buyers, sellers, maybe investors, and tenants. But the buy side, because we see that the sales is going to shift from a seller's market to a buyer's agent. And in some areas, we see a softening right now.
Right.
So I have all these hot buyers who are looking to buy, their ideal home. What would that system look like? Like if you went through courting, I love the analogy of courting. And if you skip any of those processes, you didn't want to just tell the truth. If you skip a lot of those steps, you're not going to have a good marriage. That's going to be a very short-lived marriage, right? Just like these relationships and real estate will be very short-lived. And maybe you won't get to close the transaction because you didn't nurture the steps or follow the system. So I have someone in now and they're looking to buy. What might a process or a system look like? Do I need to talk to them so many times? Is there a certain way that I need to talk to them?
The old adage is enter the conversation going on in the mind of the prospect. Okay. What are they telling themselves? So just like in dating, right? If I walk up to my unknown or future wife, right, 24 years ago, and I'm just cheesy or I'm aggressive, I know what's going through her mind. Oh, great. Another cowboy, another male chauvinist pig, no, thank you. So I have to understand what her objection is going to be and make sure that I don't put up any of those signals that I'm just like those other guys. Because salespeople always say, oh, but I'm different. I say, prove you're different by being different at every step along the way. So if you're dealing with the buyer, so let's say the market is kind of topping out. It's getting a little softer. So buyers might be hesitant to buy because they're like, oh, man, I can wait 6 months and save 10%. These things are going to drop. So start talking about that. Talk about interest rates. Talk about where the market is going. Talk about longevity. Talk about stability. Talk about the benefits of the neighborhood, the benefits of the school district, blah, 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 right? So help them rationalize why they should take action now, okay? And as the experienced agent, you should know those reasons. All right. Don't rely on the same old, because the market's not going up 3 or 5 or 10% a year right now. It has stagnated. So turn off the 2010 sequence, right, where things had bottomed out and started going back up again, or even the 2004 where things were just blowing up like crazy. It's time to pull out, just like seasons, right? Pretty soon Halloween will be here. All right. Well, it's time to bust those decorations out. Bust out your sequences for the softening market and just give comfort and confidence to those buyers and they'll buy.
Oh, I like that. Comfort and confidence. But the one thing you said, enter the conversation that is going on in the mind of the prospect. And I always tell people it's not about us, the salesperson. It is always about that consumer, that customer,
right,
or that client. And so now, and I also tell them when someone comes to Facebook and they say that, they post the pregnancy test today and they said we're having a baby. Instantly, to me, that is a major life occurrence. It means that they might be in the market to buy and or sell real estate. And we need to sit and listen to those conversations in real time. And we need to be the solution to whatever's going on in their mind, that conversation. Oh, this place might be too small. I don't know if I want the baby to sleep over there because I don't know if that's the appropriate nursery. Oh, there's a balcony. What about childproofing it? So now I'm seeing how that process ties in. And what else you said was that we need to plan ahead for those conversations. And so that kind of takes me back to understanding who our customers are. Do you do a lot of research on identifying who you should be in front of?
Well, yeah, you need to know who you can serve and who you can't. In real estate, I mean, you can help really any qualified buyer, right? Now there may be some variables in there, but as long as they have good credit, as long as they're reasonable, they're rational, right? So you can put some qualifications in there. You don't want to work with jerks. You don't want to work with people that are going to push you around. But that's the nice thing, I guess, about this industry is that you really can help just about everybody. But the problem now is you're competing with not only the professional agents, you're competing with the side hustle agents that are going to muddy the water. Right?
Yes, you are. I had that discussion too the other day. The part-time agent who doesn't know what they're doing because they don't set aside time in order to get trained. Or my favorite sentence, I'm actually teaching an evening class this evening, that my full-time job cannot accommodate your part-time effort. And so I tend not to do night classes, but yeah, they definitely muddy the water only because of the amount of time vested to truly understand the industry.
Yeah. So you are looking for people that appreciate the value that a professional agent brings to the table. Okay. Some people are just cheap. They want that discount agent. They want a glorified Uber driver. Really, they want somebody just to give them a guided tour, and they'll do all the work. So in that regard, you do have to pre-qualify, and I call it disqualify. Right? I always say I'm looking for the guy looking for me. I don't want to go beg somebody and have to convince them to do business with me. Again, that's where a process comes in. By your body of work, it should be easy and obvious for them to choose you. I've got 2 podcasts. I've written a couple of books. I've been doing this for 13 years. I speak, thousands of pages on my website. I mean, hundreds of videos. So I'm always putting myself out there. So somebody's like, "Oh, what about this guy? He's a whole lot cheaper than you." I'm like, well, define cheap. If I'm 10 times more expensive, but I do the work 10 times faster, did it really cost you anymore? Or did I save you some money because it got done in 1 day instead of 10? What's the opportunity cost of that being down? And how they're going to do it right? So it's like, if we're having this conversation, like, I'm probably not right for you, and that's okay. So be willing and ready to walk away from the table. The old adage is if you're not ready and willing to walk away from the negotiation, you shouldn't be at the table. And also, if you don't know who the sucker is when you're playing poker, it's you. So same thing in business. If you don't know who the sucker is, it's you. They're taking advantage of you. They're pushing you around. If things don't feel right, they're probably not right. My dad always says, if things don't make sense, there's something you don't know. Right? So if something in this negotiation and this haggling and these discussions, if they don't seem right, there's something you don't know. Maybe they got another agent. Maybe they got a friend of a friend. They're just trying to negotiate better rates. So they're trying to get 2 and 3 bids so they can go back to the other person and make them beat it. So always, if you remember the old Glengarry Glen Ross, right? Coffee is for closers, and ABC, always be closing. It's like, I think the new ABCs are always be curious, always be courteous, always be concise. Quit flapping your gums. Quit running around telling me about buy down points and errors and omissions insurance and FSBO and APR. And I mean, just stop, right? Be concise. Don't answer unasked questions. Okay. You're showing the house and somebody goes, well, this room is, this kitchen is kind of small. That's a statement. That's not a question. So don't answer it. Just simply reply, the kitchen is kind of small. Make them elaborate, right? Small for what? Bringing in an entire football team and feeding them, or small for, a family of 3. Like, elaborate, so always be concise, always be curious, keep peeling things back, understand what the real situation is. Do you have like a true objection, or is it a situation that just, isn't going to work? Objection. Well, it's a little farther from my work than I prefer. Okay, maybe, but if the school district's right, if the neighborhood's safe, if, there's parks in the community and, on and on, that can be overcome. If it's, well, I just had a bankruptcy last year and I don't have a penny to my name. Okay, that's an issue.
Disqualified.
Right. Next.
Disqualified. Of your ABCs, I love the always be courteous, because I always say, where did the courtesy go? And you can get more with honey, as my grandmother would say, than you can ever get with salt. And I've never met people who, like, the courtesy has just gone out the door. And I say, and it's not just important to be courteous when you meet a person face to face. It's also important to be courteous in your text message and in your email, because people are taking screenshots of those. And if they don't like your tone or feel as though you've belittled them, they will take a screenshot and put you on blast, especially if the tone is different from your online persona.
Right.
So you need to be your true, authentic version of yourself at all times. People know that I say it like it is. And so a lot of people don't say things to me because they already know how they know what the response is going to be, and they don't like the direct. And I don't do it at their expense, but what you see in text, email, and in person would all be the same identical person. So you can't put me on blast because this is who I'm showing up as all the time.
Right.
But the courtesy because you can get a lot more, right? You can ask for leniency when you're courteous. You show courtesy.
Right.
I love it. What does your follow-up look like?
It's consistent, right? And it's congruent, right? So the things you were talking about, if a confused mind says no, okay, so talking about demeanor or whatever, right? If you've got these beautiful little videos on your website, come learn about me. And there you are baking cookies, combing your daughter's hair. And your text message is like, what the hell's wrong with you? You better pull your head out of your rear. I've never heard of such a stupid question. They're like, whoa, which one's the real person? Right? It's incongruent. So they're going to stop and they're going to say, whoa, we need some more information. We need to think about it. Okay. So your messaging, and again, this is where always be concise. I'm working on a multi-step follow-up sequence right now for a corporate client. I'm flying out to Nashville next week, spend 2 days with their team and go over this. And everything is short and sweet. Short voicemails that tell a story, not the same thing over and over again. Hey, Joe and Mary, this is Wes. Yeah, I'm just following up. Just wanted to check in. Just see how everything's going. Okay, well, let me know if I can help. Here's my number. Like, whatever. Delete, block. Right? Tell a story. So, with this corporate client, we have case studies. And that it's a 60-second voicemail. Hey, if you were in today, I would have told you about, Acme Inc. In the last 36 months, they've reduced overhead. They've reduced churn 18%. They've improved response time 32%. And then the email says the exact same thing. Hey, when you get in, you check your voicemail. I told you about this company. Here's a link to their case study. If you have some time, give me a call. Otherwise, I'll give you a call tomorrow. Okay. Short and sweet. Well, now they can click the link and go to the website. I'm not going to send them an 18-page brochure, right? First of all, people don't want to be overwhelmed. But second of all, if you have the right tracking software, you can see when they click the link. And now when you click the link, I can run different automation. I can run automation if you don't click. I can run different automation if you do. Okay, so with the right systems, I can kind of read your mind, right? I can see what's going on. And now when you visit my website, that's another chance for me to engage with you, maybe with a chat window, or again, my software notifies me. So I'll send a text or call. You know, they're like, dude, I'm on your website right now. Like, oh, imagine that. You know, so they hit my site, they requested some info, they got the info, they clicked the link, they went to the site, my chat popped up, I call them again. So multiple touches, all congruent, all relevant, right? I'm not sending them crazy stuff, right? Like I don't call the Ford dealer and ask for info on the F-150 and then get an email about their minivan. I'm like, are y'all crazy? I'm going to go buy a Chevy because they're not smoking dope. Because you Ford people, I asked for a truck, you sent me a van. Like, well, So consistent and congruent.
Consistent. And then what you said was short and sweet. And I also see that you're talking about implementing audio into it as well, which I know audio is real big. And one of the ways that we're following up now is on Facebook, when people leave comments, actually going back and leaving them an audio message. So sweet, short, sweet, concise, and relevant.
Send them a video. There's a free tool called Bonjoro.
Oh, Bonjoro?
You can send a video email.
And again, I gotta look that up.
Short and sweet. Okay, they don't have time for these long love letters, right? And yeah, those long love letters, they're nice, but it takes time to read. You got to go, pour yourself a little iced tea and go lock yourself in your room and light a candle, make sure nobody disturbs you so you can read this long love letter. But you know what? Send a box of chocolates. Boom. Send a flower. Just send a quick text. Hey, just thinking about you. I mean, it's those little touches that let people know you're still engaged. You're on top of their mind. And so short and sweet is fine. Now, have those big resources, right? I've got 1,200 posts and pages on my website. You can spend a year reading stuff and not get through it all. I have the stuff there. So I'm not saying don't be deep, but don't think that your prospects want to know. They don't want to read the, errors and omissions insurance manual, from the 2019 legislative bill that just passed and the 18 amendments to the 2018 bill that were 17 amendments to the 27. You're like, oh, good grief. What? I'm hiring you so I don't have to read all this stuff. Remind me of what a great decision I made to pick you.
What is your preferred customer relationship management system?
Whichever one they will use.
Best answer ever.
It's true. I help people with free tools. I've got software. It's over $3,000 a month. So depends on what you're going to use. I will say most people go about it wrong. Most people go shopping for their CRMs just like they go grocery shopping. Right? Don't go grocery shopping when you're hungry and don't have a list. You're going to have trouble. Okay?
All kind of garbage in the cart. All kind.
So I call it process before login. So if they go to the saleswhisper.com/PBL, process before login, as a free, I got a video and a PDF they can download. And what I have people go through, you can do it like with little diagrams. I got a client, he just did it on his whiteboard and he just drew out processes and connecting the dots. What is your current and ideal process? Because most people's current processes are kind of chaotic. So what's your current / ideal process? And so the example I always give is, maybe you get a lead from an ad. Maybe you get a referral. Okay, maybe you get you're at a trade show, you're at a chamber of commerce function, you've got a booth. So those are 3 different ways a lead can come in. So, okay, let's say you get a referral. Lovely. What happens? How do they come in? Is it a phone call? Is it an email? Is it a face-to-face? How do you log those people? How do you track them? How do you schedule the first appointment? What questions do you need answered before you meet? What questions do you need answered when you meet? So have all that documented. And do you have an assistant, right? Do you have a link to your calendar? So think of all those tools. Do you need to do text messaging? What is the process? If you can write that out, even if it's just like a word outline, new lead visits my trade show booth, enter them into the system, send them an immediate text. Thanks for stopping by. Send them an email with a link to the website. Boom. Assign a task to call them tomorrow. Also assign a task to my assistant to mail them the welcome kit. Boom, boom, boom. Just write that out immediately. 1 day, 2 day, day 3, day 10, day 30. Write it out. If you can document it, now you'll know what systems you need, right? So when you go look for a CRM, just like when you go looking for a car, or a vehicle, do you have a big family? Do you tow a boat? Do you drive a lot and you're showing things so you need better gas mileage, right? So you have your own process before you jump into a car and turn it on. Do the same thing with your process for your business. Then you'll know the right CRM to buy.
Process before login. Was that a website? Because you said it was a tool you have.
It's on my on the saleswhisper.com/PBL. So it's the initials for process before login.
Oh, I love that. And just sitting and detailing it, because this is like the number one question we always get. Right. And I tell people it's only as good as the person who uses it. And a lot of times we step over dollars to pick up pennies and love those shiny objects. Yep. And we will invest in a system. I invested in what they view as one of the top ones in the world of real estate, and I never used it. It was too robust, and the learning curve was too steep. Right. So I love the fact that the process before login came into play. Besides ACRM, what are maybe one or two other tools that you believe that if you're in the business of selling, you should also have besides just the CRM?
A phone.
Look, and a new phone at that, because we did a event and I had 133 people went to the website, but I always know that nothing works 100%. I actually had 9 people who couldn't either internet access, couldn't log in, you name it. And so 9 people actually had to access the documents via text messaging. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, so nothing is 100%, but people really need, especially if you're in sales, the newest, greatest phone. So pretty much every 2 to 3 years. And when I'm seeing people in real estate still pulling out the flip phone, I'm like, oh, that's kind of like an antiquated process right there. How do you make that work? So a good mobile device and
well, my dad's worked commercial insulation his whole life. And he's run major projects, 600 people, the scaffolding and the insulation, and workers would always come in. They'd say, "I'm a journeyman, right? I'm like super experienced, not an apprentice. So I want the journeyman's pay, right? The top dollar." My dad would always say, "Fine, show me your tools." I'd be like, "What?" Because in insulation, right? It's crazy. I mean, they got protractors. They've got all kinds of knives because they're cutting the intricate shapes, putting the stuff around. He's like, "Show me your tools." And if a guy comes up with cheap tools that are wrapped in a newspaper and duct tape, he's like, "You're not a journeyman." Right? Professionals have professional tools. Okay. And now at everything, there's always two sides of the coin. At the end of the day, people buy from people they know, like, and trust. If you're not going to take the time to master all these tools, put them away. Dance with who brung you, right? And that's your attitude, your demeanor, your personality. That's fine. Because if I like you and then you're like, "Oh, hold on. Oh, darn it. Well, just one more minute. And I can't ever get this dang thing to work. I'm now losing confidence in you. Like, I liked you, but now you're over here fiddle farting around with some latest iPhone, Samsung, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I got this new app from the Realtor Association. I can never get this thing to work. I'm like, well, how are you going to do my paperwork? Okay. So use technology, but make sure you're using it, and so you've got to take the time. Text messaging is super important in today's day and age. It can help you. Video, I think, is super important. It'll help you stand out. So again, when you start listing your process, if you get a request from your website, somebody is inquiring about a house, let's say, what's your process? Maybe you send them a quick video. Hey, thanks for your request. My name's Wes. I'm going to give you a call here in a little bit. Just wanted to say hi, put a face to the name. Okay, boom. Then you also want to text them. Okay, how are you tracking that? Is it on your own phone, or can your CRM track the history so then everything's in one place? That's cool, right? I've got tools that do that, but it takes a little time to learn. So don't just look at like what everybody else is doing and go buy the tool just because they have it. It's a terrible way to do things. And I see this all the time. I'm like the CRM you bought and then you didn't use it, right? It was too much. Pick what you're going to use and then use the heck out of it. Okay. It's, man, I had this one company. It wasn't in real estate, but it was, just the B2B space. They fully demoed and tested 6 different CRMs in 1 year. Well, that's every 2 months. They're making their company jump around. I mean, they're just dead in the water. Pick something and go. If you got to run a marathon, and all you got is flip-flops, well, start. It ain't ideal. You probably won't set a record, but it's better than the person. Well, let me go to the store. Oh, you know what? I gotta get some gas. Oh, my tire's a little low. Oh, my credit card's frozen because of this. And they never run the race.
The flip-flop is funny because my oldest son just graduated from college and he wears these flip-flops all the time. So he saw a news story that a guy tried to run from someone and ran out of his flip-flops and got caught. So as a result, my son no longer wears the flip-flops out of the house because he puts on a regular pair of shoes in case he has to run. Funniest story ever. And I didn't know it would only take that one story to get him to stop wearing these flip-flops out in public. But I'm like, okay, as long as you're not wearing the flip-flops anymore. Yeah, but you still got to get started, right? And this person realized the flip-flops were not a good tool for running. Long story short.
That's true.
Oh, my goodness. And I think I love your father. Show me your tools. I'm going to have to implement that when it comes to realtors. So I know that you have some great products and services. And what can you provide to realtors to help them in all of the different steps that we've talked about today?
Well, go get that PDF and watch the video on the PBL. I've got another free tool, bestcrmforme.com. It'll ask you, it's all multiple choice, take just a couple of minutes, but it just lists out a bunch of questions to consider. So things you may not have thought of. So just documenting it, help you clarify your thinking on that. The other is the salesagenda.com. That'll give you the agenda that I've used since at least 2006. Now I've used it in corporate America, all right, B2B sales. But you can take that process and modify it, because the idea there is you need to let the prospects know who's in charge of the conversation. Okay, so you set an agenda for the meeting and you let them know you're not showing up for a dog and pony show. You're showing up to see if there's a fit, and you're going to have questions for them. Okay. Because most people show up with a big catalog and a brochure and a laptop and they're pitching. I don't pitch. Even when I was selling high-end, like expensive computer equipment, I wasn't doing big demos. I wasn't passing out brochures. As soon as you pass out a brochure, you've lost the conversation. You've lost control because they're going to be thumbing through that thing, not listening to you. They're not reading the brochure because you're talking. They're not listening to you because they're skimming the brochure. So when you have an agenda and you clarify that ahead of time and they agree to that agenda before you ever show up, you're good to go. Okay? Because you're going to have to work to make the sale. You can either work ahead of time to make sure you got a good prospect, or you can work after, go chase everything, and then work trying to salvage the thing, right? I'd rather work a little bit ahead of time so I know where I'm going. They know who's running the show. They're okay with me running the show, and we can keep moving on. So that's thesalesagenda.com.
Thesalesagenda.com. Oh, well, you know what? I'm going to have to go, and every time I interview someone, I walk away with a week worth of homework. And the one thing that really stands out is going back and just checking my CRM. I did get to the point that I've narrowed my tool selection down because, you know, you'd have this one thing that does this one thing that does that. And then I realized I was taking too much time to learn the individual systems, that I would narrow my focus and pick just a few great systems. So I'm going to actually go back and do my homework to make sure I'm using what I'm supposed to be using in my business, since I'm honing in on that skill set. Well, Wes, I truly appreciate all of the nuggets that you have dropped today. I think that it will definitely help realtors take their business to the next level. Now that we've talked about previous shows on lead generation, I think that coming in and finally, hopefully getting them closer to the close process is what we've been able to do for them today. So I thank you greatly for spending time with me today on Social Selling Made Simple.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.